Hi again, my name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller, and today I'm going to be doing my what sold video, which will be for last week, Monday through Thursday, April 7th through the 10th, and my sales were okay. I think I had 3 up days and 1 below average day, but my sales have been being consistent. But y'all, I made a major change in uh just how I've been running sales. I added a coupon to my store, and I think eBay's algorithm is being favorable because since I started it on the 12th, which is after this video, after these 4 days, my sales have gone up dramatically and they've stayed above average, except today. Today it's 2 in the afternoon and my sales are lackluster today, but it is Easter weekend, so that's what I'm thinking's up with it. We went out yard selling today. Not a good weekend to yard sell either, because just every yard sale we went to, almost all of them were pallet places. Is that the new thing in your area? I mean, literally, probably four yard sales today were just people with pallet stuff. And it's just annoying. I don't want your bubbles and your fake Crocs and your other stuff. I'm there just to look for, you know, yard sale stuff. Yard sale. But hopefully next weekend. Well, next weekend we're going to be in Nashville. We're going to the Nashville Reseller meetup. We're leaving Thursday. We're going to try to hit some yard sales on the way, maybe go to the bins Thursday, but the event doesn't really start till Friday evening. So we just planned on going up early, meeting up with some friends, hitting some yard sales, hitting some thrift stores, just kind of make a good weekend of it. But I think it's going to be a fun get together. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, let me go ahead and show you what sold. Robert's supposed to be out here any minute now because we just found out about another yard sale that we're going to run to real quick. But I already did all of this work, and if I turn my internet off, I'm going to lose it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the video without him or until he gets here. All right, first thing that sold was actually one Etsy sale. I'm not doing Etsy like I should. I have not been listing consistently. And my sales are lackluster. And yet the other day I sold 3 things in one day. So, it's just kind of hit and miss like everything else. But I did sell these Teletubby Play-Doh molds set by Hasbro from 1998. And they sold for $15.25. All right, and then this City Knit 2-piece women's top and skirt. I think I picked this up at our friend's yard sale when they were getting ready to move, the tea and pickers. I think this was in a bulk lot of stuff that we ended up getting from them. I sold it once and they didn't like it and they sent it back to me. So now I've sold it again. Hopefully it'll stick this time. But it was like one of those QVC exclusive outfits. And it sold for an offer of $25. This I picked up at the Sasha estate sale that we went to. Look, I'm down to 2. One is actually damaged that I wasn't aware of. And the other one I needed to wash and press her dress. But the rest of them, I've got them all listed. I've sold one already. But it was actually one that was damaged. But I still sold him for over $100. So that's a good start on getting rid of the 18 dolls that I picked up. This though were the McDonald's bean plush from 1996. They were still in their original bags. This is Ronald, Hamburglar, and Grimace. They sold for $30.25. Brass trinket dish. Slowly but surely getting rid of the last of that. Bought a bulk bunch of it several years ago. This little dish sold for $13.45. Keno board game. We picked this up at the Habitat Restore, paid $2 for it in the last couple of weeks, and it sold almost immediately, $17.95. Disney Pause. Here comes Robert. I'm doing my video so I don't lose it. I'm going through the screens right now. So you can just stand here for a minute. I already told him you're being a slacker and that you might show up.
This is like almost as bad as if I came out here and you were like kissing another man out here.
I'm doing a video without you.
Holy cow.
Right.
I think my feelings are hurt.
I didn't want to lose all my work, so I thought I'm just going to start the video. He'll be out here in a minute.
No, this ain't as bad because this I just have to be sad and cry a little. The other I got to go to jail for. So.
All right. Disney Pause Winnie the Pooh plush sold for $17.95. Tomy Waterfall ring toss game. Y'all, when I showed, this came from that messy estate sale that we went to. When I showed it to you guys, I said, well, make sure it has the little plug on top because a lot of times that thing is missing. And when I flipped it upside down, the bottom plug was missing on mine. Probably could have got $30-ish for it, but it sold almost immediately with the missing plug for $17.95.
So you could buy one of those for $1 or $2 and still make good money even if it's messed up.
Yeah, yeah. Ensign Smoker Infusion Barbecue. This was
don't even start in on me in my packing.
Yeah, this was a return. Robert didn't pad the bottom of the box very well, thinking that it was going to be okay. Well, it got damaged. They did send it back to us, and I'm selling off the pieces and parts of it. And these were just the wire racks that went inside of it. Sold for $24.25. You know, sometimes even those of us who have been shipping for years, you know, make a mistake in our shipping and, you know, it gets broken. It just happens.
It was big, and I was trying to get the box down a little bit to make the shipping quite a bit cheaper for the guy. And yeah, the plastic bottom shattered in shipping.
Yep.
But we paid like $5 for it, and we got $25, $24.25 out of this.
And I think I've sold something else from it already too. So, I mean, we're good.
I don't know. With that sale, we're not good right now.
All right. This is a viewer sale, and it's a new viewer, so I really appreciate that you went in my store looking for something to purchase. This is the Disney Tsum Tsums Stitch from Lilo and Stitch little storage bag plush, and it sold for $7. So thank you very much, Hope.
So, keyword.
Keyword. Go back.
Yeah, go back. Keywords.
Keywords.
You said it's a sum, right?
It's a, yeah.
Zoom, sum.
Zoom,
But you only put it in there once.
It would be a duplicate word and a waste of space.
And so sometimes when I'm like keying in jeans, I see things like, it'd be a brand name like Bucky's Jeans and blah, 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 right? So when I do things, I do like Levi's 505 men's jeans.
Right.
But if it's Bucky's Jeans, do I put Bucky's Jeans, men's jeans? Because it's kind of like repetitive. No. You don't do that, right? So
I don't, no.
There's no point in that.
No, and there's other times, like, just there's a duplicate word that just, it does not need to be used. And I don't. You need to maximize as many keywords as you can without duplicating. And I see it all the time. You know, plush and then plush again, or, you know, like this one, they use zoom or whatever it's called.
How important is the word vintage?
I very seldom will use vintage unless, like the Cabbage Patch Kids clothes that I've been working on. There are contemporary Cabbage Patch and there is vintage. If I've got the keyword space, I'll use vintage at the end, not at the beginning. Because not all of it is has, you know, a manufacturer. You know, a lot of times the tags are missing. I just know it's Cabbage Patch.
And it's vintage.
And it's vintage. So I'll use that word. But I don't use it a whole lot. And very seldom do I use it at the beginning. Where, you know, supposedly your first 5 words are the most important words that you can use in your listing. So for example, on this, Disney, yeah, it's the manufacturer. Zoom, Stitch is the character, and then just pocket tote, you know, and then I add all the other storage, bag, nylon.
So somebody's searching for a Disney tote. That way those words are in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but like vintage Levi's jeans, would you throw vintage in there?
No.
Levi's are usually, the keywords are pretty short. Levi's 501 men's jeans, and maybe boot cut might be in there. So you might have plenty of room for vintage on the end if they're really old. So how do people search for vintage Levi's jeans? Like if I want some jeans from when I went to school back in the 80s, not the 70s like some of us, how do I find those? Should I search? Would people search for vintage? How do you all do? Would you add the word vintage to your search, or would you just search for Levi's jeans? Or
for me personally, when I'm listing vintage Levi's, and to me, I know they're vintage when I see made in the USA, and I'll put USA in my title.
Yes, I do that.
And that, I think, differentiates it from all the new stuff, the China, the Mexico,
It still might be vintage.
Yeah, but I think you would just have to go in and look at the pictures of the tags. Hopefully they have pictures, because the tags are distinctly different for Levi's.
Because these keywords are important. You want to make sure that if somebody's searching, you want your stuff to show.
Yes.
That's why this stuff's important.
Yes. And, you know, I use the AI generator on List Perfectly to set up my listings at this point.
For clothes.
For clothes only. And it never tries to put vintage in stuff either. I don't think so. But it maximizes definitely my keywords. So, you know, I think you'd have to decide how you're going to search for it. But for me personally, I just try to use as many keywords as I can. And especially if it says made in the USA. All right.
I'll shut up now.
All right. A pharmaceutical advertising coffee mug. We pick them up when we see them. Not all of them are high dollar. This one took forever to sell. It is Benamine a coffee cup, sold for $15. Really the ones you want to be looking for. Viagra, Xanax. I think those were two. There's probably one more that was like the high dollar ones.
Was it Ambien?
I think might have been Ambien, were the ones that, you know, we have found in the past that we sold, you know, $100 and more. All right, Manhattan Toys Brown Bear Plush from 2016. Nice sale price, $23.35. Gibson Greetings, little
Pilgrim.
plush, little boy and girl from 1996. I think these were a Ben's pickup, so probably have $2 in them, sold for $17.95. Strawberry Shortcake Doll Replacement Bottle. I pick up most doll accessories, the pacifiers, the bottles, combs, brushes, a lot of times, especially if they look vintage to me. And a lot of times I list them separately, just like this. This item from 2007 sold for $11.43.
So wait a minute. You're telling me that little thing's like 2.75 inches long, right? Like the size of my pinky finger. And you sold that for as much as you sold that Belky Bear that I shipped out this morning. It took up like half a basket.
Yeah, I had to use a box. So yeah, and TCFC stands for those characters from Cleveland. A lot of the Strawberry Shortcake stuff is that. But I don't think anybody searches for those characters from Cleveland. Most of us recognize the TCFC. Retro Stage, that was the name of the brand. Polka Dot Halter Swim Dress. Nice little sale, $26.53.
Saw that offer pop up. Let me go there and accept that sucker.
No, you better be careful. All right, lamb, sheep, plush. Did not have a tag, so did not figure out who the manufacturer was. So I just use as many keywords as I can. Floppy blue plaid bow. For me, a lot of my plush, I don't measure the length. I measure the height, but I show that in the pictures on how I'm getting my measurements. A lot of people like to measure from like the nose to the behind. But this one sold for $26.95. This sold very, very quickly. This was picked up at that messy estate sale that we showed in a video a couple of months ago already. This was a 6-inch red dog named Burgess, and it sold very quickly, 20 bucks. Cloud Bee Dreamy Huggins Gray Rabbit Plush. There's a Cloud Bee rabbit, and there is a Best Made Toys rabbit. The Best Made Toys rabbit sells for quite a bit. Very similar. I will still pick up these Cloud Bees, but of course they don't sell for as much, but they sell very quickly. This rabbit sold for $15. Glamour Gals Pink Chair Lot. Oh, these sat up at the top of my screen forever. My keyboard just didn't get to them. Finally forced myself to list a whole bunch of stuff that had been sitting up there. They just they're small and they're easy to push aside. And they sold very quickly. Glamour Gals, I think, is Kenner. They're these little dolls. I think in a recent haul video, I called these little dolls Glamour Gals. They weren't Glamour Gals. They were actually Dazzles, Mattel Dazzles. I'm learning stuff all the time. But they're these teeny little Barbie doll looking dolls. But just these 3 chairs sold for $15. Fisher-Price soft football toy replacement to a sports set. Anytime I find the little tykes replacement, baseballs, t-balls, golf balls, basketballs, I intend to pick them up because guess what? They get lost. They get thrown in the trash can and parents go looking for them. This football sold for $9.50. Lee Modern Series Curvy Bootcut Jeans sold for $13. We sell a lot of Lee jeans. We do.
If y'all want to help us out, hit the like button, drop a comment, and if you've got money to spend to go and you're going to go shopping anyway, we're not asking you to go buy stuff you're not going to buy anyway, but go down, hit the links in the video description, and go buy from one of those sites down there, eBay, and there's Mavely stuff that goes to Walmart and Best Buy, and then to that big river in Brazil.
Yeah, and we get a small percentage, and it doesn't cost you anymore, but it really just, it helps with, like I always say, it all adds up for us.
And usually between pretty much everything we get comes through the Brazilian River Place and eBay affiliate links, and it covers a phone bill. Like it covers our phone bill for the month. Yeah. We're not getting rich from it.
No.
But having my phone bill paid for is nice, and we appreciate that when y'all do that.
Yeah. All right, this is It's All Greek to Me was the brand of this little lion plush. I find it quite often, a lot of times, it has some kind of shirt advertising something else. This, I think, sold more because of the t-shirt that it was wearing than anything else. It was for a sorority called Phi Mu, and it sold very quickly, $24.25.
Not femur?
No, not femur. Mu. I'm guessing, not ma.
Moo.
Moo. All right.
It's the...
All right. Probably not a plush that I would pick up again. The carnival style used to do better for me. They don't very much anymore. They take a very long time to sell. There's probably exceptions always to this. But, they're harder to store because they're very stiff and you don't want them to get smushed. You have to ship them in boxes because if you don't, they're probably going to get damaged. So I probably would steer clear, but this was just an absolutely adorable vintage plush. And it did finally sell for $18.68. Peanuts. This is from the Peanuts lot that I purchased last year. Bought out a whole 5 totes of stuff for $150. I've sold a lot of it. These were just plastic race car toys that actually had candy in them, and I opened them up and I dumped the candy out because it was way expired, and they still sold for $15. Blues Clues, little figures. I pick them up anytime I find them. These 2 were the purple kangaroo and magenta, and they sold for $19.76. Tom's Toys. not a brand I pick up very often. And I also think it's vintage. It was sold in a Dollar General because that Doll Gin was on the tag. But it was a dog, and I pick most dogs up as long as, they're in really good condition. And this one sold for $11.66. Lillian Vernon. Pretty sure I picked this up at an estate sale back in 2023. I picked up 2 of them, and they have sat forever. No interest at all. I can't even remember the last time I saw that an offer went out on them. Sold this one, $30.93, and then probably in the next video, you're going to see I sold the second one. Isn't that just crazy how that happens? You get no interest for a long time, and then if you have multiples of them, they sell just like that. Ceramic mushroom figure. Mushrooms are popular. If you find little figurines, if you find the canisters from Sears, just, at least check comps because a lot of times they sell for a lot of money. This little 4-inch figure sold for $9.91. Just picked these up at a yard sale. I want to say like last weekend or the weekend before. Paid $0.25 each for them. They are Nightmare Before Christmas. They were Jack Skellington and Sally are on the other sides of these mugs. They both said meant to be, and they sold immediately, $14.95. Another coffee mug. This one has been listed for quite a while. I like picking up the vintage mugs. This one was from 1985. It is Ziggy, and it sold for $7.33. Dakin Gray Cat Plush from 1983, $13.45. American Eagle Super Stretch Mid-Rise Denim Shorts sold for $15. Again, these have been selling very quickly for me.
You had some keywords in that one.
Yeah, the AI generator did them for me.
I got one. Just pause for a second here. I got to read you one I typed in the other day. Give me a second. Now, mind you, when I put this stuff in to do jeans, I do like American Eagle women's jeans. If I don't have anything extra, that's what gets put in there. But then I type in all those extra things that you find either on the tag or in the waistband or on the tag, right?
Right.
Super stretch, mid-rise. And then we add distressed because these were distressed, right? So these were Old Navy. You're going to have to give me a minute because I got to scroll on my phone for this. If I turn it sideways. There we go. Old Navy women's jeans. That's what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Rebel likes the word distressed. Some things are destroyed. These had holes. So you get Old Navy women's jeans, destroyed, distressed, higher, high-rise, OG straight, secret smooth pockets. Holy cow, there was a lot of stuff inside that waistband.
Yeah, and a lot of times this title up here is the title that the AI generated for me. I tend to not tweak it, but Roberts or whoever's logged it into my spreadsheet, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's him. I then, in my listing down here, this is what we would have done. American Eagle women's jeans, shorts, midi, denim, cutoff, size 6, cotton billion blue. And then this is all AI generated also. It's just, I'll let the AI do one and then I'll put mine in there. And I usually will compare to make sure it's at least got the right size and, the other words. But I like the titles that the AI has been generating for me.
Because in general, for this stuff, it does a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. I've used it for some other stuff, and I've heard, seen posts from other people that they use AI to request information on themselves because they've either written a book or they've been involved in some sort of movie project or something, and the AI gets all sorts of stuff wrong.
Yeah. About
things that they actually know about. So it's very useful, but you also need to check the work sometimes yourself if you're really going to rely on it.
Mm-hmm. All right, St. John women's leather belt. Picked this up at an estate sale probably, last year. It might have gone with something that I had, but I had no clue once I had started processing all of that stuff, so I just listed it separately. It was a size large, and it sold for a best offer of $42. definitely always be looking for St. John, not St. John's Bay.
I could find that stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like that. If I could make a living
Off of
selling,
loving you.
yeah, that's where I was going next. She done interrupted my jokes. I'm not even gonna talk now. Good old Clay Walker. I'd be a millionaire in a week or two. But anyway,
There you go.
just leave me alone.
All right, Ace Liner, brown swirl stapler. Well, it sat on a shelf forever. Finally got it listed in January, and it sold. Best offer of $12. I've been doing lots of little people. The small lots haven't been working for me anymore, so I thought I'm just going to make big lots as I get them, and I keep growing them to a certain level, like 12 or 15 of regular little people, but these princesses don't sell. They don't sell. And when they do sell, it's like less than $1 each. You know, I'll be lucky if I had 3 of them sell for $5 or, 5 of them for, $8. So I just, no more princesses at all. So I threw them all together, and they actually sold very quickly for $24. But it's like 15 of them.
I noticed we used to sell little people not very often. I didn't like pulling these because there's like 2 or 3 totes of them in there, and you had 1 or 2 in each little bag, and you got to dig, and they, like, oh, the blonde one, there's like 40 blonde ones in the same tote. It drives a fella crazy. But now that you have the big bags, we have sold more little people in the past couple weeks. I mean, not orders, but actual not individuals, but the quantity of little people we've sold in the last couple weeks than we have in quite a while, because these lots seem to be doing fairly well for you.
Yep. I'll keep buying them, just not the princesses. Bunnies by the Bay. I love that brand, but for the most part, bread and butter. This one did take quite a while to sell, sold for $9. Mattel Barbie pool patio table and chair set. I picked this up at a kids consignment sale last year. Paid, I want to say $7 or $8 for this huge bag of them. Almost all of it ended up being to this Barbie play set. So I just decided to put them into small lots, and slowly they've been selling. But these table and chairs sold for $20. Stuffins, I like that brand. Most of us are more familiar with the Christmas, what is the one? Oh, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Island of Misfit Toys. They have some Easter ones. They have the Rocky and Bullwinkle. But I think there is this series that was nursery rhymes, and I think he's probably the black cow. The cow jumped over the moon. But again, it took forever to sell, $8.96. I like Stuffins though. Funny story.
No, we're not telling any story.
Somebody's standing here for this one. Sold this set of adult Happy Meal toys from McDonald's. I've just showed recently. I picked up another little Grimace. I like to make these small lots. Sold this one, and then Robert kept saying, I printed the label
eBay
and
glitch.
I shipped it, and eBay glitched because it's staying in the needs to be shipped column.
And it does that sometimes until you ship a couple more items.
And then it disappears.
But this one didn't go away.
Yeah, it sat there and it sat there.
It was there the next day.
I even went in at some point the next day and just marked it sold. And then something...
Marked it shipped.
Yeah, marked it shipped. Something told me, go look in your shipped or sold, listings. And sure enough, in a 12-hour period, but on 2 separate days, I had sold 2 sets of these. And Robert didn't catch that there was 2 of them and shipped one of them, and then the other one just kept staying. Unfortunately, also, he shipped the one that had sold the same day, not the one that had sold the day before. The most recent,
because that's the order.
Yeah. So I haven't seen a late shipment ding on it. Hopefully it arrived on time, and I won't get dinged on it because we didn't get to ship it until the next day. I did send a message to the buyer explaining why it didn't get shipped when it was supposed to get shipped.
Her words about her husband were pretty harsh in that message.
And I never even got a response. I haven't heard anything back, so I'm guessing all is well in eBay land over this. But yeah, sometimes don't just assume it's an eBay glitch, because it wasn't. It was a Robert glitch.
Yes, it was. How often do we don't have, I mean, you have two things in this what sold video that we had multiples of.
Very
Right? The little
seldom.
glass thing. We don't have multiples of very many things.
Mm-mm.
And we never sell two of them in the same day.
No. It was just
It was funny.
circumstance. It was funny. And I had marked it shipped. But something told me, gotta go with that little feeling that says, you need to go and check this a little bit further. So I'm glad I did. All right, this next one is a vintage MTY International musical bear. This was actually from the lot. I just had it come up in my recent memories on Facebook of the estate sale that we went to. Started at a warehouse, and then because she saw that I was buying so much vintage plush, they took me and Robert over to the house, and there was plush on hanging from the ceilings in black bags, never had been opened in years, and I was given free reign on going through everything, and we bought so much vintage plush. And here's another one of them. I don't have very much left because I ended up putting most of it in like several boxes that I kept separate from everything else. But this one sold $17.96. Levi's 541 men's jeans sold for $15.05. Y'all, find these. Be on the lookout. There was a time I couldn't hardly sell these, and they would take forever to sell, and they would be in lots of 2 or 3 or 4 for $9.95. But somebody, who was it? I saw a post somewhere, I'm not remembering where, that these were hot and to be on the lookout for them. And I think I picked one up at a Ben's. It came out of one of my Ben's bags. I don't even remember how long I've had it. But these are little people clip clop with a K horse figures. There's all these little play sets, and when you put the horse on the play set, it makes this little clip clop sound as it goes down the tracks. There's princesses on them. There's just regular little people figures that sit on them. Y'all, this sold instantly. $49.95 instantly. So be on the lookout for them. Go dig through the bins. If you're a bin shopper, go to yard sales and look through all the little totes, because these are crazy and they're selling instantly for me. But this was the only one I could find so far. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this. Sales have been good. Keep in mind, go set a coupon on your store. And just remember, coupons, if you have a sale going, they can use a coupon on top. But if you send out offers, they cannot use a coupon on top of that. So my sales have been amazing over the last week. And I truly think it is because I'm keeping a coupon going on my store. And I'm like my sales, I'm only doing a few days at a time, and then I'm resetting it up. So I'm doing a 10% sale and a 10% coupon. So go try it.
Somebody asked in a comment, and I keep meaning to go bug you about it so I can answer their comment. They ask, how do you set a coupon on an item? You don't set a coupon on you could.
You can.
But typically you set it on, you can set it on your whole store, you can set it on categories, but you don't do it on the item page, you do it through the markdown process.
Yeah, you do it through the markdown screen. We're the same screen that you set up a normal sale. If you click on that little block at the top where you're setting up a sale, one of the choices is coupon. And then, you just have to go through that process. And
there's a place on the right when we're on the computer where you could go through and search or select items to do
certain categories you can pick. You can exclude your dolls if you don't want to do dolls. You can exclude electronics based on your categories. And I think maybe there's a place where you can exclude specific listings. But when you got 11,000 listings, I'm not going through all that. I just did it store-wide. So, all right, y'all. We're heading to a yard selling. We all need to get to work. Bye.